Hi again. It's me, Mrs. Biller. I'm going to read the stories for little folks again, and this time I'm going to read Billy Lee Buys a Teacup. Billy Lee Yates and Towser, his puppy, had just had a terrible accident. It was one of those accidents wherein neither of them was hurt, but both were very shaken. And one of Billy Lee's mother's teacups, the blue ones, belonging to the best luster set, was broken. Mrs. Yates was at the moment on her front porch, talking to a neighbor before leaving for a trip downtown. Billy Lee was waiting to go with her. It happened quick, just like that. Here they are with the broken teacup. All in a minute before they got ready to go, Billy Lee had done the forbidden thing. He had thrown the ball to Towser in the dining room, mind you. Towser had scrambled for it, hitting the serving table as he went, and crash! One of the cups had fallen. Not a very loud crash, for Mother didn't come running to see what the trouble was. Billy Lee had time to get his breath, pick up the pieces. It was badly smashed, and the pieces were very little ones, and carry them to the barrel back of the garage before his mother's voice called that she was ready to go. Billy Lee was 6 years old, and he went to school mornings. Just lately he felt very old indeed, for he had been allowed to go downtown with his mother when she had errands in the afternoon. Billy would stay in the children's room at the library until his mother finished her shopping. This was really growing up, and usually Billy Lee was so full of enthusiasm at the prospect that he bubbled over with his talk all the way. But today he was strangely silent. In his pocket was 47 cents, with which he meant to buy a certain drawing set in Oliver's bookstore. He had flattened his nose against Oliver's window to look at it the last 5 trips he had made downtown. Today he was going to buy it. That is, he had intended to buy it. Walking along beside his mother, Billy Lee considered the advisability of telling her about the teacup and offering his 47 cents to replace it. But somehow he decided against that. He would wait until later to explain about the cup. And then all of a sudden, he saw it. Here he is, looking a little sad, kind of quiet. A blue tea set, like his mother's, in the window of a shop which they were passing. Could it be that he could buy a cup like the broken one? If he had one to replace it, it wouldn't be half so hard explaining the accident. He knew his mother's tea set was valuable, knew that she set much store by it. She had often warned him of the fact. Somehow the idea of telling her that one of the cups was missing did not seem a very happy one to Billy Lee. The more he thought about the whole plan, the better he felt about it. If only she didn't say anything about his promising to stay right where she left him at the library till she got back. He was sure he could find his way to the shop for the teacup and get back to the library before she came for him. And lucky he was, for all his mother said when she left him was, "Be a good boy, Billy Lee." For 5 minutes he sat, quietly looking at the pictures in an Indian book. Then he returned it to its place on the shelf, and taking his cap, went slowly out of the big building and down the steps. When he reached the sidewalk, he stepped along faster. He knew all the turns, waited always for the traffic lights to turn green, and even then looked carefully before he left the curb to cross the streets. Sure enough, the china shop was right where he thought it was, and the tea set in the window gave him a warm feeling inside. The shopkeeper was most polite. "What can I do for you?" he asked as he came forward to meet Billy Lee. "I want one of those blue teacups," answered Billy quickly, indicating the set in the window, just as if he were quite used to shopping for teacups every day of the week. "But said the shopkeeper, "that is impossible. I cannot break the set. They sell all together." "But I don't want it all," explained Billy Lee earnestly. "All I broke was 1 cup." The shopkeeper was greatly interested. "Ah," he said, "you broke a cup to a set like this one and want to replace it without your mother knowing it." "Oh, no, sir," said Billy Lee, shaking his head. "I shall tell her when I give it to her. But you see, sir, it will tell so much easier if I have one to replace it." "But," said the shopkeeper, "what would I do with a tea set with 1 cup missing? I couldn't sell it. Nobody would buy it with just 5 cups." "You might give it to your wife for a present," said Billy Lee, seeking a way out. "Maybe she would think 5 cups was enough." The shopkeeper, who was Mr. Macy, owner of the china shop, considered. "What are you prepared to pay for a cup like this?" he asked. "All I have," said Billy Lee, emptying his pocket. Mr. Macy looked at the 47 cents. It was mostly in pennies. No doubt it was the result of much saving and had been counted many, many times. Somehow Mr. Macy felt that he should take it, although it did not begin to cover the price of the purchase. Here he is talking to Mr. Macy. As far as Billy Lee was concerned, it was, as his mother had always warned him, an expensive tea set. Mr. Macy seemed lost in thought. "You're Billy Lee Yates, aren't you?" he asked, after what seemed to Billy a long, long time. "I guess your mother is rather proud of you." "She shouldn't be," answered Billy. "I'm dreadfully destructive." Mr. Macy nodded. "Well," he said, "I can bet you won't be as destructive as far as a tea set is concerned again. Just suppose I couldn't have seen my way clear to sell you that cup." Billy Lee managed to smile. "Oh, thank you, sir," he said, as Mr. Macy wrapped up one of the teacups and handed it to him. Back in the library, he waited impatiently for his mother to come for him. Somehow he couldn't enjoy looking at the books until the teacup matter was straightened out. His mother, when she came, appeared not to notice the package he was carrying, nor did she question the fact that he did not suggest stopping for the drawing set. Mother was like that. She knew a boy often changed his mind about things. To be sure, she looked grave when they got home and Billy Lee explained about the breaking of the teacup, but she smiled a little and looked glad when he told her about replacing it. "Now, you know just how expensive a tea set can be," she said, "and I know just how plucky a boy can be." And she hugged Billy Lee close, whilst Tower, all unconscious of the trouble, came and sat at their feet with the ball in his mouth. The end. Here they are, looking at the nice teacup. I hope you enjoyed that one. I guess I'll see you next time.